Now on page number 3 here, now I have a very, very quick sketch just to point out done for you. We have our map of Ireland. Now again on the top of this page, I want you to write down short questions and part A's only. Okay, this page, short questions, part A's only. Now on the top of the page here, you're going to see you have your map. Now I want you to write down, this map came up in 2018 and 2011. Okay, so 2018 and 2011 in short questions. Now, and there was 3 main places asked, okay? Now, what were the 3 main places that was actually asked? So they had, I'm just going to X them, so to see if you can actually, so around to here, around to here, around to here, and if I can actually reach up there, okay? They were the 3 main places asked. So think in your head, would you know what type of rock was there and what that location would be referred to? Now, if you are, you have this done, you know this, okay? So what I want to do is I want you to get you to mark them in on this map. So up here, probably a little bit further, if I could reach the top of the board, we have the Antrim-Derry Plateaus. Now the Antrim-Derry Plateaus is basalt rock. Okay, so that's the first one, Antrim-Derry Plateaus, basalt. Here, just below Dublin, probably a little bit further now down than that, approximately here, we have the Wicklow Mountains. Now the Wicklow Mountains, what type of rock is there? There's granite there. Now to come round in a circle, our next X or kind of area shaded would usually be along here. That is the Munster Mountains. And the Munster Mountains, you have sandstone. Now sometimes we say the Cork and Kerry Mountains, that's absolutely fine. There's no problem with that. Now the next one is also one that people get really, really caught out when they have the centre of Ireland shaded. But what you should know, just like we have, I suppose, as we have that is exposed in the Burren in County Clare, the central plains of Ireland are covered by peat and boulder clay. But underneath them, there is limestone. So over here, and in the central plains of Ireland, we have limestone. Now, here, beside the Burren in County Clare, pop down the Burren, here we have the central plains, okay? So we have the central plains in the middle of Ireland, and down here, I'm going to pop it in, we have the Burren. Okay, the Burren in County Clare, never just say the Burren County Clare. I don't have space here now, so I have to cut it short. Now, after that, they haven't actually asked any other on the map, but I want you to put them in because I don't want to leave anybody short for any reason. So here, what we have in Connemara, just along the coast of Galway. So we have Connemara. Pop in County Galway, and you have Marble. And finally, up in Donegal, in Errigal in Donegal, just along here, you have quartzite. Okay, now that's just a general gist of where you find these rocks. Very, very quick sketch, but it gives you an idea going into your exam. If you get that 2018 or 2011 short question, what you're actually going to see. Okay, and that's really, really important. Now there was a 2016 and 2013 question. Both of them short questions also, but they were like what you'd see on the bottom of this page, on page number 3. So I've left this blank box on the bottom of page number 3 for you to also fill this in. So granite you have in the Wicklow Mountains, you have your basalt in the Antrim-Derry Plateaus, and the Giant's Causeway is a section of that. You have limestone in the Burren in County Clare and the Central Plains of Ireland, where it's covered by peat and boulder clay. Sandstone, you have the Munster Mountains. You have your green marble in Connemara, and finally the part that I can't reach, up here, quartzite in Errigal in County Donegal. Okay, so that's a huge amount of information there. That really is the majority of your short questions covered. Okay, so the majority of the short questions we have now covered in a couple of minutes on page number 2 and page number 3. For 2 seconds, I want you to go over to page number 4 before we start the next section. Now, in this class, we're going to focus on really two rock types to start off with. We're going to focus on our igneous rocks, basalt and granite. Now, why we're focusing on these is they haven't appeared since 2016, so quite a long time to appear on their own. But also, I want to teach you how to structure your answers, how to find, I suppose, smart, efficient ways to learn these answers. Now, before we start into that, and before I start any topic really, once we get our short question material done, I want you to pop over to the last pages here in your notes. Now, the last pages in your notes are going to be going over to page number 31, okay? Apologies, 31, go back a page. 30, we should be on 30. So page number 30. Now, why we're on page number 30 is we are going through our long questions. So all the long questions, all the past questions that we have ever been asked. So page number 30. So on page number 30 here, what you should see is the list of the types of questions we have asked with the rock cycle, okay? So here's our rock cycle material, here's what we have for our short questions. Now we want to get on to our essay style questions, but what can they ask us, okay? And that's what you need to know. There's no point of opening a textbook and saying to myself, okay, I'm going to start learning now. Like, what you learn, what you not learn, where do you use it, you know, that's pointless. We need to figure out here, and I'm going to be showing you what exactly we need to know, and there's really 6 things really. So let's go and have a look on page number 30. So guys, I want you to turn over to page 30 now, and what we're going to do on page 30 is we're going to look down through the essays that you need to know for the rock cycle and their associated landscapes. Now, behind me I wrote down a list, and this is the list of essays that you actually need to know, okay? Now, for every single unit you do of work, you need to have yourself a list of essays that goes with that, okay? And I can promise you there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 essays that is related to the rock cycle and their associated landscapes. So here what we have are essays on igneous rocks, which are basalt and granite. We have our sedimentary rocks, which is limestone and sandstone. And finally, our metamorphic rocks. And for metamorphic rocks, and this I mentioned this earlier on, if you're doing metamorphic rocks, you're writing an essay about them. I'd advise, just from my own experience as a corrector, I'd advise you to write about 3 of them. So if you want to pick marble, quartz and slate, you can pick a different one if you want. It's just better for yourself. I find that people don't write enough because the detail can get quite, I suppose, complicated. You have your karst landscape, and that is the burn we're going to study in County Clare, and your basalt plateau, which is your Antrim Durry plateau. And finally, you have your human interaction with the rock cycle, and we do geothermal energy here. Why we do geothermal energy is it crosses over with positive impacts of volcanic activity. Kind of similar to your karst landscape, which crosses over with your weathering, your basalt plateau, which crosses over with your volcanic landform. So anything I can kind of recycle as such, I'm going to make sure I recycle it, and that's what we try to do with the grants, to make sure you have to learn, I suppose, as little as possible. So on page number 30, I'm going to go through the first couple of these essays. I want you to highlight, to note down what I'm saying, and I just want to prove to you that this is what you need to know for the rock cycle. So on page number 30, the first question here, it says, 2019, it's 2B, rocks. Explain the highlight the word formation of each of the following with reference to highlight the word examples. Now on examples, I want you to circle the S. They're looking for more than one example that you have studied. For one, highlight one sedimentary and highlight one metamorphic. Now beside one sedimentary, if you're going for one sedimentary, go for limestone. Pop down limestone. Beside that, pop down its example. Where would you find that? You can find that in the burn in County Clare. Now that there is 4 marks for you, okay? And I'll go through the mark and SRPs now in a minute. That's 4 marks for name it an example. You have one metamorphic. Pop down beside metamorphic marble. If you're given one, go for marble. Beside that, write down its example of where you find it, Connemara in County Galway. Now, the second 2019 question, so came up twice, rocks came up twice this year. It says, explain how different, highlight the word rock types. Circle the S on types. They're looking for more than one. Produce distinct landscapes. Highlight distinct landscapes. These are your associated landscapes. Highlight or circle the S on the landscapes. In Ireland, with reference to, highlight the word examples and circle the S. Now, your rock types here for your landscapes, well, your two landscapes, it's going to be pop down limestone karst, and beside that write down the burn. So limestone is your rock type. They're not giving you marks for that. For saying karst landscape, they're giving you 2 marks, and the burn 2 marks. Under that, your basalt plateau, pop down basalt plateau at 2 marks. That's your second associated landscape associated with basalt rock, and pop down the Antrim Derry plateaus beside that. 30 marks, again 15 minutes. Keep popping down 15 minutes beside that. The 2018 question. Human interaction with the rock cycles or rock cycle in a number of ways. Highlight there, humans interact, human interaction, human interference, whatever way they say it, it's the same thing. Describe and explain how this interaction with the rock cycle, highlight rock cycle, takes place. With reference to 1, highlight 1 and highlight the last bullet point there, bullet point number 4, geothermal energy production. Geothermal energy production is your 1. Pop down into the 2016 question. 2017 was the only year ever, and I tell you, every geography teacher in the country nearly had a heart attack, that rocks didn't come up, okay? Okay, I'm still in shock. So, only year, 2017 was the only year it didn't come up as a long question, so it definitely will be up. We're going for 2021. Explain the formation, highlight the word formation, highlight 1 igneous rock. Beside 1 igneous rock, write down whichever one you want, basalt or granite. And highlight 1 metamorphic rock. Beside that, write down marble, quartzite, whichever one you want. Now, underline the word and. They want both. They want 1 igneous, so for example, basalt, 1 metamorphic, for example, marble. They want both. They don't want 2 of 1, so make sure you don't do that. With reference to Irish examples. So maybe there for your basalt, write down your Antrim Derry plateaus. For your marble, write down your marble, you're writing down Connemara in County Galway, okay? 30 marks means 15 SRPs, 15 minutes to us, okay? I'll be talking about the SRPs in a minute. Now the last one I'm just going to do here, and you can do the rest yourself. Usually in the grinds we go through every single one, but just to give you a gist, it says, examine how different rock types, highlight rock type, circle the S, highlight distinct landscapes, circle the S, with reference to examples, highlight examples, circle the S. We're circling back to this question here where we have limestone or karst landscape, our example, the burn in County Clare, our basalt plateau is our second in relation to basalt, obviously, and the Antrim Derry plateaus is our example there, okay? Now, that's just a gist there of really just 5-6 questions, and I suppose just proving to you that with every topic, you need to have a list like this. You need to have a list of essays, and sometimes you'll be kind of pulling in from one essay and pushing out something from another, but this is it. This is it, and you're going to find all the notes for every single one of these essays, plus more in the set of notes that you've downloaded, okay? Now, the question I'm going to focus on today is a 2014 question. Now, this is something similar came up in 2016, but just not the exact same. So what I want you to do is pop back over to page number 5, actually page number 4 in your notes, and we're going to start from here. Now, in your notes on page number 4, what you'll see here is we're starting with our igneous rocks, okay? So our igneous rocks on page number 4. Now let's start off with the questions. So we have the 2016 question to start off with there. Let's have a look at it. Explain the formation, and we've seen this a second ago, highlight the word formation, highlight 1 igneous rock. Now, decide which igneous rock is going to be your one. Is it going to be basalt or granite? Decide yourself. Pop it down. Whichever one you pop down, if it's basalt, write down Antrim Derry plateaus beside it. If it's granite, write down the Wicklow Mountains. Underline the word and, okay, they want both. Metamorphic rock, write down marble, Connemara, with reference to your Irish examples, which we mentioned there. Now, 30 marks means 15 minutes and 15 SRPs. Now, I'm going to look at this 2014 question in detail, and we don't have that much time, but I just want to explain to you, I suppose, how the marking scheme works, how you can look at a question in your exam and know how to get what I kind of call my quick marks, okay? Now this question here, this 2014 question, it says, examine the formation of igneous, now apologies, this should say igneous rocks, I'm just going to write that down below it. With reference to examples, it could say Irish examples there, it makes absolutely no difference, okay? So, underline or highlight igneous rocks, circle the S on rocks. They are looking for more than one, and I'm like a parrot, okay? If they say rocks, they want two. The marks are left there for you to just discuss two types of rocks. Highlight or underline the word examples. Now this is worth 30 marks. 30 marks to us, obviously in question 1, 2 or 3 are physical geography, which means 15 significant relevant points and 15 minutes, okay? Now, first things first, 15 SRPs, and I waited till now, and I know usually with these courses I have people in front of me and you know I go into this in a lot of detail, but today I'm going to do it quite quickly. What is an SRP, okay? What is an SRP? Now, I'm going to pause for a second. Students say to me a lot, how long does an essay need to be, okay? Now, that's like asking me how long a piece of string is. Okay, if you're going to waffle, as I mentioned at the start, and repeat loads of points, you could write 99 pages and still not get your full 30 marks. Okay, now what every 30 mark question requires is 15 significant relevant points, SRPs, at 2 marks each. Okay, so each SRP is 2 marks. Okay, now what is this mysterious SRP? Okay, it's a significant relevant point, and the easiest and simplest way for me to describe it is it's 2, and this is just a simplified version, might I add. I would always say it's 2 pieces of factual information, okay? So for example, let's just take, we were talking about limestone, and this is also the one I refer back to. Let's say we're writing an essay about limestone, and I said limestone is a permeable rock. That's one piece of information. I told the examiner, limestone is permeable. Limestone is a permeable rock. That's, to me, half an SRP. Permeable means water can pass through it. That there is an SRP. I told my examiner limestone is permeable first, and then I told them permeable means water can pass through. I gave the definition, a very brief definition there, but that's what an SRP is. It's 2 pieces of factual information. That's generally what your examiner will be looking for, okay? So simplified version for today. We'll go into more detail in the grinds, but that's just simply what it is. And I'll always be saying to people when I'm going down through the essays, you know, that's one SRP, that's a really good example of an SRP, or when students give me work, they'll say, is this an SRP or isn't it? And I'll clarify it, just in case there is confusion at any point. So you need 15 significant relevant points, preferably not in bullet point form, which is going to take you 15 minutes. Now, there are easy marks to be had, okay? So every SRP is 2 marks. Our examiner here asked us for the formation of igneous rocks. They're asking me to name 2 igneous rocks. Now, my igneous rocks, as you'll know yourself, we're going to be doing our first one here. We're going to do our basalt and granite is our second one. Apologies, we may be doing it the other way around. So basalt and granite, okay, they're my 2 igneous rocks. Now, for naming them 2, so for naming basalt, my examiner is going to give me 2 marks. For naming granite, my examiner is also going to give me 2 marks. Similar if they ask me to name 1 metamorphic and 1 sedimentary, they give me 2 marks for each of them named. Then they say with reference to examples. So then I go along and I say to myself, basalt is the Antrim Durry Plateaus. And I say granite is the Wicklow Mountains. For naming, they asked me in this question for examples more than 1. So they're going to give me another 2 marks for saying the Antrim Durry Plateaus and another 2 marks for saying the Wicklow Mountains. Now, do your calculations there. That is 8 out of 30 for just knowing how to read the question, okay? You've nearly got a third of your marks there by writing down literally 4 phrases because you knew how to read the question. And it's one thing I would say, if you know how to read the question and you're running out of time, you can flick through questions very, very easily, just like I did here. 10 seconds, okay, literally 10 seconds to write that down, and I got 8 out of my 30 marks. I'm building up my easy marks, and you have to know how to do that, and I will be training you to do that, okay? So we're asked for 2, we're asked for granite, asked for basalt. Can I get my full marks if I just decide to do, I love granite, I want to write all about granite all day long, I'm going to give them a big long essay about granite, my examiner of course is going to love it because they're a geography teacher? No, they're not, okay? They cannot give you full marks if you do not write about both. If they ask you for 2 things, it's kind of like saying, the rule is generally, they're asking for 7/8 significant relevant points on one and 7/8 significant relevant points on the other. So 7/8 SRPs each, okay? So obviously that's not divided evenly. You do 7 on one, 8 on the other. This is counted as 1, this is counted as 1 already, okay? So really, for example, for basalt, you'll be doing 6, let's just say. For granite, you'll be doing 5, okay? But you have to do that even split, okay, or almost even split.